let go of that dream. This is a kid that's been playing it for 15 years and loved it. But when I heard those words, let go, I just felt so much peace. And I was so confused as to why. I was like, this thing that I love so much, why am I sort of happy to actually let it go? Purpose is so powerful. Purpose is a privilege. It's a lot. It's a heavy burden. It's a privilege. And I'm glad that I have my purpose and I know why I'm on this earth. I didn't ever get into it for money. I think money is a powerful servant, but a horrible master. When you chase it and it's what controls you, your emotions are going to be up and down, and it's the love of money is the root of all evil.
When you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you in like regards to life, the endless race?
They do like events, but their schedule, they're focusing more on like professional events for like the next 3 months. So it doesn't match up. So they said we could do it in June, but I'd probably just, if we did it in June, like do a whole completely other collection for that. But we're still going to put a pretty big production behind it. Like we're going to be filming a skit. So I've got a couple of TikTok creators to be in a skit, which we're going to film first week of Feb, hopefully. Then get that edited, release it in March. And then I've got a friend, she's like a manager for a lot of influencers, so we're going to host like another event for that, a smaller event for that. So there's still going to be quite a big push behind that collection anyway. But yeah, haven't set the release date yet. And
have you done that for most of your previous releases?
Production is just big now because it was more, I was still very much learning, and like now my knowledge of marketing has improved a lot more. So it's like, okay, now I understand the marketing game a bit more. That's what we do, a big push behind.
Yeah, cool.
So I think the Felice has got a sort of, I mean, the photo shoot was a really good photo shoot, and we filmed a bit more about it. But like from this collection on, there's going to be quite a big push behind most of the pieces, especially the ones that we think are going to do really well. Yeah,
because there's a lot in marketing, right?
It's key.
Like even with me, and I think clothing in general, having your own store is completely different.
Yeah.
What would you say is like the biggest thing you've learned from like a marketing perspective?
I think
that's seeing the biggest growth.
Yeah, I think the main thing is perception's everything.
Okay.
Like, perception is people's reality. So it's how the clothes are perceived. So how you market them is so key, and that visibility. So it has to be everywhere you want. More people that buy it is obviously good because you're making a profit and you're making sales, but the thing that people don't talk about most is that's also promotion. When they buy it and they're walking around, like it's one thing to buy it because that's money in your pocket, but then it's buying it and walking around in it. Someone sees it and says, "Oh," which is what female market is really good at, because they're amazing marketers and promoters, and they do it selflessly because they don't even realize. Because when you ask a girl where they got something, they're so ready and willing to tell you and send you the link. With guys, there's a lot more gatekeepers. It's just like don't really want to give it away.
Yeah.
So I guess like however that looks. So for me, it's being creative. So like with our social media campaigns, I don't really see much mileage in just sending a tracksuit out to a random influencer I've never met for them to wear it, because they might not understand the vision, and it's just like, okay, cool. But unless they're ridiculously big, but rather than building an actual relationship with someone and they understand the vision of the brand, it's like they're gonna push it forward like it's their own. Or holding an event. I think events are a really good way to do something because you get everyone that you want in one room. And if you host a pop-up shop, then it's direct sort of thing. So marketing, definitely 2024 was a year where I studied marketing game a lot more.
Did you spend a lot?
More than we ever have before, 100%. But I also think it was more education. I think the education part was big because I've got a few friends that are in business. One of my friends, Covenant, he runs one of the best or most popular barbershops in Bromley. And he literally, I remember we sat down one day and he literally gave me the game on marketing and his strategy and what he does. And from that conversation, I just said, okay, cool. I got to really take this marketing thing seriously, because you could design amazing clothes, but if no one sees it, it means nothing. Like you have to get it out there.
That's what they say, right?
And the following helps, right? But if you market well, you can sort of work around having a smaller following. Because you can still get views without, there's loads of videos got millions of views, but if you look at their subscribers or something, it doesn't really match up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it's like just pushing it out there as much as you can, right channels as well, which is, social media is amazing for that.
So would you say with me, because I thought about merch.
Yeah.
Just like you said, be your brand, be a walking brand. Do you think I should do that?
I'd say, yeah. If you've got you'll know your fan base better than anyone else,
Mhm.
right? And I'd say with that, it's okay. I say gauge it, test it. So maybe a technique I would use is maybe put a poll out,
Okay.
maybe get some one-on-ones done for yourself.
Mhm.
You walk around in them and see what the reaction and the vibe is like from there, and then from there, once you've gauged it, it's like, okay, cool. This is enough to put back behind, or make it exclusive. So it's like we're only releasing 10 of these
Mhm.
because psychologically is another big thing. Like you have to make people feel like if I don't get this thing, I'm missing out on something crazy. So it's like once you're able to get that feeling out of someone and get that emotion out of someone, they're more likely more inclined to buy something. Like, okay, I have to be a part of this thing because most people suffer from FOMO anyway. So it's like, I don't want to miss out on this. Everyone's got this tracksuit. And like this tracksuit that I'm wearing, like that was one of the pieces that had that feeling about it. It's like I still get asked to this day. And because it was a collab piece and we both decided, nah. Because like I also want something that's got that feeling of exclusivity to it. People, I don't know why, but people want it more because it's like, oh, I've got one of them and you don't. I don't know, maybe like back in the day when Shambalas were really popular, like
God,
if you had one, it was, you know, like,
oh
it was
my
like,
God, yeah.
Oh, you're the guy, and if you don't, it was like, or yeah, well, anything that was popping is like you wanted to be part of that sort of clique that had it. So if you're able to evoke that emotion out of someone, that's a really good step.
Yeah,
I definitely say make some one-on-ones, hats, jumpers, hoodies.
yeah. I've got like a small like long sleeve that I wear at the moment.
Okay,
but it's one of those ones where it's just the logo at the front, and then it's got a barcode at the back. So if they scan it, they can go to the website. Sorry, not the website. They can go to the YouTube.
Yeah.
But yeah, not many people. I don't think anyone has scanned the barcode.
I think I'd say from your page, I haven't seen content on it though. So how many people have seen it or aware of it?
Good question.
So like I think if you push it more, you'll definitely like. And one thing is, what's the worst that can happen? Your podcast is already established. You're already doing that. It's like, okay, I'm adding this feature to it. What's the worst that could happen? The plus is people go and get this, and that's one, sales, and that's two, also more people going to your channel by scanning the barcode. Minus is we're still here. Podcast still exists. That just didn't work. It's like, don't be afraid to try things and put the effort behind it as well. Like you get what you give in that sense. It's like if you're gonna put, sometimes you get what you give. You don't always do.
Yeah.
There's numerous situations where you can work as hard as you can and not get the return for it. But one thing I definitely know is if you're not putting any work in, it's very rare you're going to get anything back from it.
Yeah, definitely. So I don't know if you guys know what we're talking about, but I've got the pleasure of sitting down with Jude.
Yeah.
He has a clothing brand called the Big Apparel. How long has it been going for?
5 years now. It's just celebrated 5 years, December 7th. We held our event. It was sick. Yeah.
So what type of clothing is it?
So I would describe it as luxury streetwear.
Nice.
So we have pieces like this, the tracksuit.
It's a lovely tracksuit. I love it.
Thank you, bro. And it's like we're also branching into like knitwear as well. Which for me, I say this humbly, I think I know how to dress pretty well. So it's like I try to just base it on stuff that I guess I would wear, because a lot of the times where I wear something, it's the reaction is, where did you get that from? But I'd like that to be the question when I'm wearing my stuff all the time. So, which when I do wear my stuff, that is the question, but people know it's my brand. But it's like, so I'm trying to transition to a place where I only ever wear my stuff.
That's nice.
Or a couple other brands that I'm a supporter of. So yeah, the 5 years now. So the actual date of the 5th year anniversary was December the 19th, but we held the event on the 7th, which was amazing, definitely.
So you're how old? Let's just establish that as well, because you're doing extremely well for your age.
21. Yeah.
So you started 16.
Yeah. I started it. My hair was a lot shorter. I didn't have any facial hair at that point either. I had no idea what I was doing when I was starting. It's not something I ever thought I was going to do either.
Yeah.
But God laid a vision on my heart and I just ran with that vision. Didn't know exactly where he was going to take it, but I guess the lesson I've learned from that and the lesson I tell other people is just run with the vision. God will do the rest completely. I think it's definitely increased my faith. It hasn't always been good either. I think the first couple of years were really good. It started off really hot and it was really popular. It was like, rah, kids doing something. And because I was quite known around the area I am, it's like, okay, cool, we're just going to support it because it's Jude. But if I'm honest, the clothes didn't really look that good then. It was, if anyone had purchased it, it was because they were a friend or a friend of mine and supported me. or the vision itself, but it wasn't because it was good looking fashion. I think that transition probably came around third or fourth year. I was still, so at the time I started, I had like a team of 5 or 6, and we had a designer, Emanuela, and she was amazing. So I still used some of her designs for our, up until like 2023. And then that's when it sort of transitioned, using some of her old designs, and then also me learning more about design, knowing, also moving with the time, because fashion changes. And it changes a lot. It's always in cycles. So sort of me following what trends there were, that helped it develop into what it is now, where the clothes generally look good. So if someone's buying it, it's because it looks good. And I think that growth is visible as well. Look at our first ever piece to the last thing we released. It's such a stark difference, which I like as well. And that's why we did a whole documentary about it, which we premiered at the event. Amazing. It was just like telling that story. Because not only do you see the clothes change from then till now, you see me change as well, like, physically. It's like, and you can see that reaction. It's like, he looked like a baby then 5 years ago. And what I like to say to people is always like, it's been 5 years, which seems like a while, but if a kid's 5 years old, they're still a baby. They're still growing. So we're still a baby and we're still growing.
Yeah, exactly.
And there's still so much for us to do. And 2025, I'm extremely excited for. Got a lot of things planned, and I think it's going to be a really good year.
Yeah. Don't take this in a bad way, right? But usually the guests that I have are most likely older than me. They've gone through school, Obviously, when the question I ask is 16-year-old Jude. You started your clothing brand at 16.
Yeah.
So I know you mentioned to me school wasn't really your thing, if you can put it that way. What didn't you like about school?
Do you know, I felt like I was just limited and caged. I think that's the aspect. I don't think I went about it the right way. Caused my friends a lot of stress. Constant phone calls and detentions and exclusions. But I think for me, it was more. But I also understand now, because since I finished school, I've done jobs that have put me in school. So I worked as a PE teacher in a primary school for a period of time. And the work that I do now is closely with school. So being in this environment, I've understood, okay, I understand why the teachers reacted that way. Because when you have a kid like I was, that was smart and understood the work, and whose grades that they should be in top set, and it's like, you look at their home life, they come from a 2-parent household, there's no problems at home. Why are they acting like this? I had no good excuse, none. So the kids that were messing around with me had a lot more excuses than I did. I didn't. So I always got treated differently. It's like, what are you doing? It wasn't, oh, you're never going to amount to anything. It's like, you're wasting your potential. You could be here, but you're doing this. But it was just in through one ear, out the other. I generally went to school just to be class clown and be a comedian. No. Like, that was my thing. I used to get such a kick out of going in school, making everyone laugh.
Yeah.
But then it was like, okay, when the test comes, I'll still pass. It's like, okay, cool. But I was just getting by when I could have been thriving. But I think for me, it was just, I don't think at that time schools knew how to sort of cultivate someone that had a sort of creative outlook, or I say creative, but I was also very much interested in like certain lessons. Like, I loved English.
Okay.
But again, that is sort of creative, because I loved creative writing and writing stories. I used to write books all the time.
Okay.
So that was sort of my passion, as well as obviously PE and football. But I just didn't go about it the best way. But I think one thing that schools do well now is like, they have so many different opportunities that didn't exist back when I was in school. Like, for example, some schools have a thing called Sport and Chance, where kids go to school twice a week, and 3 days a week they're in a college sport. Didn't exist when I was in school. Go to school Monday to Friday, 5 days a week. But I also think it is certain. I think teachers help as well. I think teachers do an amazing job for the whole wider community, or how you build a community in any country. Like, school is a vital component of that, and teachers they're unsung heroes. Like, you're because kids will spend more time in school than they do in their house. So it's like, while they're in that building, confines of your school, what are you teaching them? I think it's important to have teachers that actually speak life into outside the general lessons. But I also think there's a big disservice done in terms of you're not ever going to get taught about tax or financial literacy in there, or like the way the world truly works outside of that. So then that's, to an extent, you don't even get that in uni. It's like something you have to do yourself, self-educate yourself with as well.
And I think, like you said at the start, they put you in a box. They put you in a cage. Like, I was talking with someone else. You have to ask to go toilet.
Yeah.
And sometimes they will say, no, what? I need to go toilet. Let me go to the toilet. And I think that's why school gets these negative connotations, because they put you in a box. They don't teach you about these life skills.
Yeah.
If you teach, as they say, if you do business, person that probably is teaching you business
never owned a business.
Never owned a business. They just know the principles of business.
Yeah.
Even so, they're just doing a job, right?
Yeah.
So was a clothing brand always in sight? So let's just say 14-year-old Jude.
Mm-hmm.
Was a clothing brand in sight, or did you think, I want to go to uni? Or
one thing I definitely knew that I was never doing was uni. Like, if you were to ever meet Jude in primary school, secondary school, you'd question how old I really was, because I was like, "What? How do you already know that? Why are you talking about that already?" Like, I don't know what. Me and education we didn't get along. So I was like, as soon as I can finish and I don't have to legally go to this thing anymore, I'm out of here.
Mm-hmm.
And that was me. So uni was never an option for me personally. Okay. And also what I wanted to do in life, I knew that I didn't need uni for.
Okay.
To your question, 14-year-old Jude, nah. Like, this clothing brand literally came out of nowhere. If it wasn't for God, I wouldn't be doing it. Okay. I had no plans to do it. It wasn't in my mind frame at all. If I had it my way at 14, I was like, okay, I'm going to become a professional footballer. And when I retire, I'm going to go be a politician and save the country. Mm-hmm. That was what I thought. That was my plan. But it definitely didn't happen that way. Mm-hmm. So yeah, now 14-year-old Jude definitely.
And then you mentioned God. At what point did he shift your mindset?
In terms of the clothing brand or in life in general?
I guess we can do both.
Clothing brand, it was when I got given that vision, I was listening to a song by an artist called Still Shady, and I just remember seeing a vision of people on a rooftop doing a photo shoot with the words "Ballin' and God" on a t-shirt, and the O in God was a football. Okay, cool. And that's one of the only times I've ever got a clear, pertinent vision. So I was like, okay, there's a scripture in Habakkuk 2:2 that says, "Write down the vision, make it plain on tablet. So he may read it, may run with it." And I did exactly that. I went to Primark and I bought a plain black t-shirt. I went to Time Bomb on George Street in Croydon, got it printed on exactly how I saw it. Didn't know what I was doing, but I was like, okay, cool, let me just do this. 5 years later, it's snowballed to what it is now. And then in general, I was raised in a Christian household to God-fearing parents, but I think I only started to take my walk with God seriously myself when I was about 15, which I guess is still pretty early, to be honest. So, which I guess you can sort of see coincides, because it was only a year later after that I got given the vision for this brand, which I've never actually done.
Yeah, sometimes you don't.
Yeah.
And like you said, you've been doing it for 5 years. Yeah. Sometimes you lose sight of the product. When I say product, the business that you've created, which I love.
Thank you, man.
I think I definitely gravitate towards people that are like yourselves, that don't restrict themselves to school. Yeah. I don't think there's anything wrong with you saying that school wasn't for you, or you didn't like school, or when it finishes that you didn't want to pursue it. You've got other dreams, right? Yeah. So it's very important. I think
it's the way society views it. It's always like, go to school, go to university, you work in 9 to 5, eventually make enough to get a mortgage and buy a house, and it's just that
endless cycle.
But it's like, that's not the only way to go about life. And there's more to life than just that. I think because society views it that way, or most of society, should I say, and then especially from my background, coming from an African background, Ghanaian specifically, it's like, they're very much, okay, go to school, go become this or go become that. But my parents weren't as I guess closed-minded as others may be. Yeah. Yes, they were very much education. But I think they learned pretty quickly that I'm quite different. And I was like, okay, Jude isn't a regular kid. Yes, I caused them a lot of stress, but I think for me, it was once they could see I actually had a vision and purpose, it was like, okay, cool, we'll support you. They're so supportive of me. With this brand, they've been so supportive. With my event, they were in the kitchen all day helping and cooking.
Amazing.
But it was like, I think that's what you need, that home foundation, your parents that support you. Because for me, my dad was like, as long as his son's doing something and he's just not out on the street doing foolishness, it was like, okay, cool. So a lot of that time, it was football. But it was also, okay, cool, he's got this vision. So whilst it didn't look exactly like how they thought it would in terms of me going to uni and whatever, it was, okay, there's clearly a plan here.
Yeah.
So as long as we can see a plan and we can see you're working towards that plan and working hard, then we're okay. They just didn't want their son to be a bum, which I completely understand. So I think more needs to be done in terms of building that bridge between kids of my generation and our parents, because a lot of them have come to this country and worked to get by. So that's all they sort of know. But you can break the mold, and I think there's so many people that are showing us that we can, and there's multiple different ways to become successful, and it's not just through becoming a doctor. In this day and age, there's so many different ways to make money. Honestly, you can have a podcast, you can make music, you can be an artist, you can make clothes, you can be a YouTuber. There's so many different TikToker.
Nowadays, if you've got a personality, you can make money online.
Yeah, I think that people just like entertainment is massive. Entertainment is huge. It's like if you can hold people's attention, which has definitely gotten smaller since lockdown and the introduction of certain apps, is like. But if you can essentially bring a crowd, if you can invite a crowd to someone, you can make money from it. Yeah,
I think what you said there was really important in regards to your parents. So I'm going to ask you a follow-up question, but the first one is, was your parents very much on the work?
Originally, yeah. In terms of like, okay, get this, get that, like always looking at my grades. Got to be doing this.
So I mean, from their perspective, so like, were they like, I need a job to be successful. I'm not going to set up my own business.
Well, naturally, because my mum's self-employed and so is my dad.
Okay.
Which is funny actually. Yeah, because my mum's a childminder and she's been doing that since as long as I can remember. Since I've been born, she's been doing that.
Yeah.
And my dad works in sort of like construction as well.
Okay.
So, but he has worked 9-to-5 jobs as well. But I think it's and also I think my dad's very creative. He makes music as well.
Oh, wicked. Okay.
So he was the head of the choir at the church I go to, Trinity. So it's like that's why I'm so involved and have such a deep passion for music from him. So I guess probably that's why they were a lot more, I guess, lenient with it, because they understand it themselves. Whether they knew it or not, subconsciously they'd shown that there's another way to skin a cat.
Yeah, because I think what's so important is, take my dad for example. He's very, you need to get a job.
Yeah.
Like what you do, and like when I was doing FBA, I'm getting the pallets coming to the house. Fair enough if it's his house, but he's like, why are you doing this? Basically shutting down my dreams. And I think it's so important when you have family in general, not just your parents, that support what you 100%. Do and understand it. Because the last thing you want is your family not supporting you. Yeah. Telling you, Jude, no, I want you to become a doctor. Yeah. Stop this. When it's your dream, it's your passion.
Because it crushes your dreams and it's demotivating. And then even if you go and do that thing, your heart's not in it.
Yep, because you know.
Do what you love. Like the money will come. It might not be exactly, but you can't control, to an extent. It's like, I think that's an afterthought. Do what you have a passion for before you think of the money. Because if you don't have a passion for it, you're not going to put any effort into it to actually make any money from it anyway. Unless it's just a normal 9-to-5 job. It's like, if you now go and try and pursue and be a doctor and a lawyer, it's like, well, what's even the guarantee that you become that anyway? Because every single thing in this life has competition. Whether it's being a footballer and there's only 0.01% that make it to the Premier League, or whether it's being an artist, everyone makes music. So what separates you? And everyone also goes to uni and gets a 2-1 or a first and tries to become a solicitor. And there's only so many job opportunities that these law firms are going to give you. So what's the guarantee you even go and make it in that? So it's like, and then when you go and do that and you don't have a motivation or passion for it, it's only so long till you end up quitting that anyway. So you're all better off sticking to what your dream is. I think that's why I think more needs to be done to sort of build that bridge, to close that gap between us and our parents. And also think it's seeing tangible evidence. Yes. So a lot of the times, even they may not understand. If they see money's coming in, a lot of them is like, okay, cool, that's fine. And if it's consistent as well. But I also think some of it's visibility. So like, if you have a job that you're always at home for, they're like, are you really working? But if they see you waking up at 6 a.m. every morning and putting on a uniform and going out, they know, oh, he's working. But you could be it's work from home jobs, which I even think some of them struggle to understand that concept as well, because like they're used to coming into this country and it's like, okay, I wake up at the break of dawn, I go to work and I come back at 6 in the evening or 5 in the evening. So, and I'm tired. That shows a work. But there's loads of jobs now where you don't leave the comfort of your bedroom without a sweat, and you've made maybe even more money than those other jobs would have. So yeah.
Yeah, it's important. It is a struggle. I've been there, but it's good that you have a solid foundation.
Yeah.
So you said that you play football.
Yes.
In essence, what happened? Why are we not playing pro or at a higher level? Was it a lack of passion?
Well, couple of reasons, but point blank, I don't think I was ever good enough to make it to the Premier League. Something like that anyway, if I'm honest. But for me, it was also, it was once again God in terms of I'd been playing football since I was probably about 4.
Okay.
But football's something I got into because of my dad and my older brother. So my education of football, my love and passion from it comes from them. They're two very big influences in my life. But my brother's was extremely talented. Like he was out trials and at academies and stuff. So it was like he's the sort of the prize possession. He's going to make it.
Yeah.
And I think he stopped playing at 16. I think he just lost sort of the drive and the passion for it.
Happens.
I think that at that age, there's like, especially from a lot of boys in London, it's like, okay, you have a decision to make. I haven't been signed yet and I'm now 16. Do I just go to college and start working and make money and get myself a car like everyone else my age is doing? Or do I keep pursuing this football dream? It's like a crossroads. So he stopped and I was still playing. So I ended up getting to a higher level than him. That's obviously because he stopped playing by 16. I kept playing pursuing the dream of it till I was 20, I think.
Okay.
So yeah, I was captain of my school team. My school team, we had a good team, but we actually didn't get, year 7 and year 8 we played. Year 9, they stopped letting us play. We had a new PE teacher come in and he said, we're not ready.
Oh, wow.
For whatever reason that was.
Yeah.
So he left and in year 10, we got a team again. We won the league straight away.
Nice.
So I'll take credit for it as captain, but it was, so football's a big love and passion of mine. And then I got signed on to a scholarship program at Bournemouth.
Okay.
I was there for 2 years. It's like a football college program. So the first year I went there with a lot of excitement. I was like, okay, cool. This is a good level club. I'm gonna work my way, hopefully make it to the first team. Didn't happen that way. I think also lockdown happened at that point as well. So the first year was sort of, the whole time there was different because it wasn't how it would have been because of COVID. So my first year there, like my confidence was shot to bits, man. As a player, it was like, I'd get to points where I didn't even want to call for the ball.
Oh, wow, really?
It was bad, man. And you know when it's like that because you're just not yourself. And then we had a game, I can't remember who we played, and I got man of the match and I played so well. And that was like the spark.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden football's like when you're up, you're up.
When you're
and
down.
that's why they always say you can never get too high with the highs and too low with the lows. Because the same people that are cheering you on will be the same people that are bringing you down when you're playing bad. So I played amazingly. Like I'm walking towards the gym or walking through the hallway. It's like, yes, Jude, yes, Jude.
Yeah.
2 weeks later, I had a groin injury and I played with that injury. Didn't have the greatest games. Just like silence. Don't hear anything. But I learned a lot there in terms of like like football's a confidence game.
Yes.
Confidence is the biggest drug there is when it comes to football.
Yeah. You
You will see a player that you thought was, what team do you support?
Arsenal.
Okay. Martinelli, 3 years ago, 3 seasons ago, I'm playing unreal, out of his skin because he was confident. But you can see when the players like shot for that confidence, like Sterling, for example. Now it's like they don't look like themselves.
Yeah.
So that was me there. And then when I eventually left, I went to go play like non-league. So I got signed to Orpington. So I was playing first team football there. And after my first training session, that confidence drug came straight back. I played so well in my first game. I was like, okay, we want you. Signed me straight away. And I was like, okay, cool, I'm enjoying it now. So yeah, I think it was the summer of 2023. I remember just hearing God just say, it's like, let go of that dream. And this is a kid that's been playing it for 15 years and loved it.
Yeah, exactly.
But when I heard those words, let go, I just felt so much peace. And I was so confused as to why. I was like, this thing that I love so much, why am I sort of happy to actually let it go? And that was because I'd put so much pressure onto myself to have to make it because of my family. And not even, my family never put loads of pressure on me. It's like, you have to make it.
Yeah.
But it was myself telling myself that. And I realized the whole time that I was playing football was because I was trying to prove a point to my mother and dad when I didn't need to. So when he said let go, it wasn't just let go of football, but it's let go of all of that pain and that hurt and that trauma. And that's why I felt so free. It's like now when I play for fun, I'm like, it's just fun. Like I still have a love for it, but
Still competitive.
Yeah,
but
like my friends will tell you, like when I'm playing, I'm loud but it changed so much, and I didn't even realize that was the reason until I said it out loud. I was like, oh, that was heavy. So I just felt such a weight lifted off of me to the point where like I barely even. I think I've watched 2 games this whole season.
Oh wow, okay.
It's like I still like football, but I even when it comes to watching, I just think the product is not as entertaining as it was. I don't think there's as many good players on display. And also my team's not great. I support Man United. So
yeah.
I'm not missing out on
my
much
editors.
anyway.
My editors United supporter. So
yeah. So yeah, football is still definitely a love. I still play it from time to time, like 5-a-side during the week. But the dream of making it to the representing.
Yeah, I think I relate. Not to obviously I played basketball. My main sport is basketball.
Okay.
But what you said about letting go, like recently I've been thinking, do I really want to play this anymore? And I tell myself, is it an ego thing? Because I would like to say I'm quite naturally gifted at sports. I can usually play a lot of sports and be quite good at it. And I'm just thinking, it's a confidence thing. Every sport that you play is a confidence thing. Because at the moment, confidence is quite low. It's always been a struggle for me since year 9. I'm like, man, do I just give it up? Yeah. Because it's not in my top 5 priorities of going pro or doing whatever. So why am I
pursuing it?
Yeah. Exactly. Why am I putting all this pressure on myself? Yeah. I'm a point guard, right? PG. Yeah. So that's like a cam, isn't it? It's like a cam of a football court. So I'm putting all this pressure on me. Like, I don't need to do this. Like, I don't want to go pro. I'm not getting paid. Yeah. It's local league. Yeah. So why am I still playing it? I've got other things. I'm training late. Yeah. Which is forcing me to wake up later, ruining my routine. Yeah. Yeah. So do I just let it go?
It's funny. I'd say yeah. And I say that because I'm in the same position. So I play for fun now, but I joined the team playing on Saturdays. But it's proper far. Even when I drive, it's in Dartford.
That's what I mean.
And I'm like, when I go to training, it takes me like 15 minutes to get there, train, get back, and it's like my whole evening's gone. And I get back and I got work. Then it's like it's more trouble than it's worth at this point.
Yes.
I think breaks are healthy, mate. You might find out that maybe in 2 years' time you go back to playing and it's sort of renewed. So I don't think there's anything wrong with just stopping. Like for now, I think for me, I'm like, I don't think I'll be playing 11s for at least a year or so. And this is like a charity game or something. Because just do what, like, it's your life. You're in control.
Exactly.
You're no longer that kid trying to make it pro anymore. So it's like this sport no longer dictates my week and my schedule. I do. I've got other things going on. You're not as important anymore. So you've sort of taken the power away from it. It's like, I can let you go. I'll pick you up when I feel like it, when it suits me, when it's convenient for myself. So I'd definitely say yeah.
Because I haven't told myself that I'm going to give it up completely. Yeah. I'm going to do, like you say, just play for fun. There's scrimmages that I can go to. Yeah. Less stress, don't have to worry about.
There's like an app, like a pickup game app,
yes.
isn't there?
Yeah. There's stuff like that. But it's funny that you said that. But anyway, let's digress a bit. I want to talk about, I'm always intrigued about how to start a clothing brand. Okay. It's something that I want to do in the future. I've just got so much on at the moment. But let's talk through the process of how it actually works. So you come up with an idea.
Yes.
Let's go through the process of coming up with the idea and then it becoming a tangible product.
Okay. So in terms of my process now?
Yeah.
Okay. So I'll think of a design. Well, there's always things running through my head. Like my mind's always on go. So I have a design idea in my head and I'll try to bring it to life on my laptop or my phone and create that design image. So once I've done that, it ranges how long that will take. Because if there's like something similar to it that's already been made, I can use that as a reference point. Okay. And I might make my tweaks here and there. And then once I've got my design sorted, I'll then send it off to my manufacturer and say, is this possible? Send in the size guide, all of that stuff, send in the whole tech back and it's like, okay, this is what I want, these are the sizes, this is how much I want. And then I'll get over samples sent to me. Test those samples, see how those samples are, work out the kinks. And then sometimes if the samples are good enough, you can use them for a shoot. But then if not, you order your stock in, then you book a content day, you get your photo shoot done, you get your product pictures done. Yeah. So then that's the way I do it now. So I've got everything stored. So for example, like the last thing we released was our skull caps, but before that we had the fleeces in both colorways, right? But they were released, the black and grey fleece was released in November the 20th. The khaki colorway was released on December the 23rd. Okay. And then we've got these sweaters coming out on January the 28th. Okay. All 3 of those were shot on the same day. Sure. So I did all content for that on the same day. So and that shoot was in October. So I had content for November, December, and January and February, all done by October. So you want to plan ahead. I always use, I guess music's a good example. Let's say I start making music today, right? And I release one song, but I've got nothing else there. And it goes really well. Now I'm going to be writing again for probably another couple weeks, then go studio, then maybe shoot a video. And that whole process might take 2 months until they see another release from me again. That's too long. People don't care anymore.
Yeah.
Gone, just like that. So what I do is make sure someone that's doing it the right way would have 5, 6 songs there ready. Maybe 2 of them that have a video. After one is released, see the traction that it gained from that. Next month they release again. They're ready. So my process is design, work out the kinks, get a sample made, work out the kinks of the sample, what I like, what I don't like, how it fits, the fabric, the GSM, all of that stuff. And then it's, once that's finally done, it's like, okay, cool, we start promo now as well. And then obviously release. So like for me, 2025, I've pretty much planned the entire year already.
Oh, wow, nice.
Yeah, I think I did it like towards the end of the year.
Okay.
So I pretty much know exactly what we're going to release and when, collections or single pieces, one-on-ones, collabs. And I've got space set for potential collaborations that I want to do as well. Those come to pass.
Okay. And then what's like the biggest challenge in the clothing industry that people don't
talk about?
Yeah.
I think it's subjective. So someone might have a different answer to me that runs a brand. I'm going to be cheeky. I can't think of one directly, but a few that come to mind, I'd say, is issue. Like, I've had a photo shoot booked and samples are supposed to come the week before, right?
Yeah.
And the day of the shoot's here and it's still not here. And then I'm like, the worst thing that can happen. Or what comes is not what I ordered. Like, I remember like 2022, I ordered these hoodies and I sent him the font, everything. I sent him everything he needed. And what he sent back was not that. Like, I've booked this whole shoot for what reason now? So that's challenges like that. But I'm someone that I'm a big believer of self-analysis, so root cause analysis. It's like what could I have done? I'll go to the extreme, like extreme accountability. Okay, if it came late by a week, that's the courier's fault. But I should have ordered it even earlier just to circumvent that. Do you get what I mean? So like, I'll look at myself before I look at anyone else. Okay. Like if there's an inch for me to be blamed, I blame myself.
Really?
100. Because I think there's a balance to it because it can be unhealthy.
I was gonna say, do you think that can become very unhealthy?
Yeah, definitely. I think I'd like to think by God's grace I've got a good balance to it currently. So it's like, I understand where things are out of my control. For example, at our show on the 7th of December, we had a pop-up shop set up and I placed the order over a month before. Still didn't arrive, but that wasn't because of me. That was because I think there was loads of wind going around. So the plane couldn't take off for a while.
Yeah.
So it ended up coming the week after. I was out of my control. It doesn't make it hurt any less or make it less annoying. But it's like, I know at least I can go to bed that night knowing I didn't cheat myself. Yeah. You know what I mean? So I'd say that's a challenge. Maybe the competition, but I sort of embrace it. Like, when I see other brands release something that's really cool, I'm like, oh, I wish I had that idea, but it's sick. I love it. Because I'm a lover of fashion ultimately. They're sort of direct competitors because we're selling, but I also, game recognizes game and I think it's an art form to design something so good that someone's willing to part with their money for it is a skill, especially in this day and age where with the economy. It's like, if you design something so nice that someone's willing to give their money away for it, then doing something right. So yeah.
And have you always been, are you good at art?
I can't draw to save my life.
No.
I can barely manage to. I used to even, I think my dad mentioned in the documentary, I used to love doing like colouring books and stuff like that, but mine's all digital.
Would you say that's a stereotype that you need to be good at drawings to set up your own clothing brand?
Yeah, potentially.
Which is not true.
Yeah.
In this case.
I mean, the designer we had to the search, Emmanuel, she can draw. I can't. Yeah. So I guess it's definitely one of the stereotypes, but you don't, because we've been going on 5 years strong and I definitely can't draw. So, yeah.
And the other stereotype that I hear a lot that also influences me, that the clothing industry, setting up your own brand, is very saturated.
Yes. Yeah. Would I say it's an oversaturated market? Yeah. I think everyone and their dog has a brand. Yeah. So I guess when people ask me, oh, what do you do? And I say I have a brand, and then they hear it's 5 years, they're maybe, okay, cool, because you haven't just jumped on it. But if it's good, bro.
Yeah.
Generally, if it's good, it's good. If a brand starts tomorrow and their tracksuits look better than mine, I say, oh, fair enough. Do you know what I mean? It's like, I'm not. There's been so many people that have come up to me and asked me for advice in terms of starting a brand since I started one. And it's like, what's your why? The main thing I always ask, what's your why? Because if you don't have a why or your why is not strong enough, eventually you'll just stop.
Yeah.
There's loads of clothing brands that started before me or after me and still are no longer with us. They stopped for one reason or another because it's potentially their why wasn't strong enough. If you're just doing it because you want to do it, it's never going to be enough because the challenges that you face, it's not going to be worth it. I didn't ask for this, but I'm doing it because there's so many challenges with it. It'd be much easier to just each month buy my clothes from someone else.
Yeah.
I don't have to design anything. All I do is just pay for it with my hard-earned money and wear it. But designing something, having samples, having them go wrong, having the price increase on samples because of inflation, it's like all of that stresses the things that you don't see behind closed doors as well. So yeah.
You mentioned your why.
Yeah.
What is your why?
In life?
Yeah, in life.
Simple. Just for God to get the glory in everything that I do. In everything I do. So it's like, I think purpose is so powerful. I think purpose is a privilege. That's the way I describe it. It's a lot. It's a heavy burden. It's a privilege. And I'm glad that I have my purpose and I know why I'm on this earth. So because of that, it gives me the motivation to do or to remain disciplined. Because motivation comes and goes.
It does.
Discipline is key. I take discipline over motivation even like with little things like gym. When you're not motivated to doing something, you're not going to do it. But if you know it's a non-negotiable discipline enough to do it, then it's do it.
Yeah. One thing I like to ask my guests is accountability. So I don't know if you asked these questions to yourself already, but we don't take inventory of ourselves. Okay. And what I mean by that is we don't ask ourselves what we're doing right. We don't ask ourselves what we're doing wrong, where we can improve. Yeah. So the two questions that I have for you is, what is one thing that Jude needs to work on? One thing that will make him a better creative, build his brand better, be a better person, be the best version of himself, better relationship with God. What is that one thing?
I'm not thinking hard because I'm perfect. I say,
and don't be humble, by the way.
I say remain consistent.
Okay.
So I think I've got a good system in place and a good schedule in place, and just remain consistent with everything that I'm doing. My quiet time with God, I think remain consistent. That being the key. Okay. Remaining consistent with that and continue to journey with Him and know more about Him and His nature. Everything else will fall into place. That's all secondary. But just remain consistent with all of that. I also think community, man. No man's an island. I can't do this by myself. I've got an amazing community around me with some really good brothers and sisters. So it's like, they keep me accountable as well. Because I like to think we're all pretty high achievers as well. So we keep each other in check. Yeah.
Nice. And then on the flip side, what's one thing that Jude's doing really well? That you can sit down, see what you've built over the last 5 years from when you started. Like, what is one thing that you're really proud of? And don't be humble about that one either. Like,
I'd say the brand itself.
Yeah.
I think we're doing really well. And I think it's visible now. There was a period last year, like we were dormant for most of 2023. And there was a period last year when my boy his friend was doing a fashion show and my boy suggested my brand and he went on my website and it just didn't exist anymore. Yeah. That was a pretty embarrassing moment. That was one of the triggers that made me get back on track. And I was like, I can't, God's given me this vision to steward. I've got to do it well. So since then, we've just been on go. And to some of my friends, like, damn, you're not stopping. I'm like, nah, like this is 2020. We ended really well. 2024 and 2025 just elevation and continue that building. I think I like to say just build your arc. I don't know if you know the story about Noah and building the ark. It was took him over 50 years to build his ark. And while he was building his ark, there was no sign of rain. But he kept building it. And it made sense in the end, didn't it? Like the vision made sense in the end. So it's like, whatever your vision is, whether it's your podcast, it's a clothing brand, it's your music career, just keep building that arc. And I think that's what I'm doing well right now.
Yeah. So regardless of whether you see any improvement, you just keep going. If you don't see it, you just keep going.
I think, I'm glad that I've gotten to this place of contentment where it's like, if the vision goes global, I'll be ecstatic. And if it stays this local brand, I'm also happy as long as the mandate's been fulfilled, which I think once you get to that stage, it's like, okay, you're content. Because if it's solely dependent on if it ever goes global, your sort of happiness and your peace is up in the air. But if it's like, okay, cool, I'm at peace, and it's the peace of God that transcends all understanding. So it might not make sense logically. Oh, but would you not be? Yeah, I would be happy if tomorrow someone said, I want to invest £1 million into Big Apparel. But if they don't, I also understand that we're doing well and we're designing good clothes. So for me, it's if we're consistently designing pieces that are doing well and that look good, as well, then cool. If they're selling out, bonus.
Yeah.
So that's not the traditional business way to look at it. But from the vision itself, I think that's where I'm at now. I think business-wise as well, I think I've taken it a lot more seriously in terms of my own life as well, personal finances and budgeting and making sure we're not, like, overheads are okay and the bottom lines, all of that stuff is key because you should do your work diligently, 100%. Contentment.
Yeah, definitely. And people always ask me whenever they always get me to ask my guests this.
Yeah.
You definitely don't have to answer it, but let's talk numbers.
Okay.
In 2024, how much did you sell? Like, what was your revenue? You don't have to give it obviously exacts, but
off the top of my head, I'd have to check off the top of my head, but it was 320. We weren't far off 5 figures. I'd say that way.
Wow.
So we were in the four figure in terms of revenue, 4 figures. Which 2023 we were on and off. So it was patchy, but we were in the 4 figure market, which for us as well locally is good.
Yeah, it's amazing.
So I think 5 figures, is a God willing, we can hit that this year. We'll hit 6 or 7, wherever God wants to take it. But we hit 4 figures last year, which was good for us. And I never take a single penny out either, which helps as well. It's like I get to a point where it's self-sufficient, and it doesn't need me. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of people would give up, right?
Yeah.
They see the numbers aren't stacking and they'll be like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore. Yeah. But you've persisted and it's only going to grow.
I think it's good because I didn't ever get into it for money. Yes. So money's not what kept me.
Yeah.
I think money is a powerful servant, but a horrible master. When you chase it and it's what controls you, your emotions are going to be up and down, and it's the love of money is the root of all evil.
Yep.
Money isn't the root of evil. Money's fine and money's good. It can do good things, but the love of it is. That's why I try to stay away.
That's like me with the pod. When I first started this, I was like, I don't want to attach no monetary value to it.
Yeah.
I literally just want to get guests on, also improve myself, become a better articulator, communicator, interviewer, whatever you want to call it, but also learn from people like yourselves.
Yeah. And
give it out to the public.
Yeah.
If it impacts one person,
that's it.
That's what that matters. And they take, for example, there's a young boy that wants a young girl that wants to start a clothing brand, and they look at this and say, Jude did it, I can do it. That's
how a lot of things, like, it's a testimony. Telling your testimony is bigger than just you. And for me, 2023 and 2024 was a year where I realized it's bigger than me. Everything that I do is like, someone might see it, and I think the biggest compliment you can receive from another human being is to say that you inspire them.
Yes. And
hearing that it warms my heart, but it also reminds me that it's bigger than me. Everything that I do is this, like, vision. It might inspire someone to start a brand or to start something else or whatever that thing is, or to pick up that thing that they dropped.
Yeah.
That is why. So someone seeing you do your podcast so consistently will be like, okay, cool, let me chase my dream again. And I think that's the beauty of it. I think you've hit the nail on the head, because when you don't attach that money to it, it's like, I'm doing it for the love.
Yeah.
Meaning, okay, cool, I'm going to be motivated. But when you're solely focused on the figures, when the figures drop, your motivation will also drop. And when the figures increase, you'll get too high with the highs.
Yeah.
As I said before, in terms of football as well. So, yeah.
No, because it's true. Because, like, when it comes to posting, I try not to attach myself to the views. Because if I look,
it's hard, though, isn't it?
It is very hard. Like, if I look at where I was like a year and a half ago, TikTok, 1 view, 100 views.
Yeah.
My last 3 clips, I just got over 1K.
Wow.
Like,
congrats, bro.
You know?
Yeah.
I've progressed, and that's because I'm not doing it for the monetary value. If I did it for the monetary value, I'd be like,
I would have stopped.
I would have stopped because I'm getting no views, but now it's progressing. progressing, and I've got people like you on my last guest. So, and the pipeline for this year is very big. So I can only.
Yeah, I remember you spoke in terms of the strategy you're adopting this year as well, which is good to hear. I think it's so difficult to not.
Yeah,
it's so difficult to not get demotivated when you see like one view. It's like, and also it's so difficult to not get too attached to when you get that 1,000 views or 10,000 views.
I'm always refreshing.
Like, and it's like it's such a bug, and it can send you down a rabbit hole.
Yeah.
So it takes a lot of grit and strength to be able to be like, I'm not. But I think truly when you get to that stage of I don't give
you don't care
a heck about the views, and it's like I'm just doing it with love. That is the dream.
That's
like that person's happy. That person's at peace, because whether it gets 1 million views or 10,000, it's like what I put out was good. And I think that's why I'm like, okay, I designed this really cool piece and it looks good. No one can tell me differently. It looks good.
Yeah,
cool. So
yeah, it's difficult because I always say to myself, like, let's just take a clip that got 200 views.
Yeah,
if I was in a room of people with 200 views, a pretty largish crowd.
Yeah.
So I've got to be grateful for that.
It's true. I remember I can't remember, one of my friends one time, he just hit like 10,000 followers, and he just Googled what a group of 10,000 people looks like. I think when you look at it that way, it's like, okay, if this was actually in front of me, that's actually quite a lot of people.
It's a lot of people.
So yeah, it's like celebrate the small wins.
Yeah.
Like no win is too small to celebrate. I think that's something I've also learned across this journey called life, like celebrate.
Yeah, and I think that's something that I struggle with, is celebrating those small wins.
Okay. How would you say that? What do you think causes you to struggle with?
I don't know, because I feel like if it's not massive, it's not worth celebrating.
I find that a lot of our ways of thinking are various reasons. Like, for example, one of my friends used to think like that as well. And then I figured out, it was like, okay, cool. But they also don't celebrate the birthday very often. Because they didn't do it a lot as a child. So it's like, they're used to that. But I think I don't know if I guess I celebrated my birthday as a kid a lot as well. And as a teenager and stuff. I think it's understanding that I think the biggest reason, nothing's promised. No one promised us it's going to be successful or it's going to do it. So that's why I'm like, I think we should like celebrate those small wins. It might not be anything crazy. It might be as small as I'm just going to go to Nando's and be like, oh, I did it. Like it can be how you celebrate is up to you. But I think it's important because it's like when we have those hiccups or those downtimes, we definitely feel down. So we owe it to ourselves to sort of celebrate however that small that win is.
And I think that's what I struggle with. I struggle to attach what I'm going to celebrate with. It's having a double of Hennessy a celebration. Yeah. Like, is that a celebration or do I need to throw a party? Like, do you know what I mean?
I think that bit is subjective. Like, whatever that celebration is to you, it is. Someone might like. I think it can become quite toxic when we don't as well. Because I remember when I was playing football, I listened to a podcast. I can't remember which one it was, but Rio Ferdinand was talking about how they had won the League Cup and they went in the changing room and just sat and carried on as normal. Like the trophy was just sat there, like no one cared. I was like, at first when I first heard it, I was like, cool, like winners mentality, that's really good. Like, it's not. Especially as a footballer, the amount of work they put in and what they have to do. Now, I understand contextually, it's in the middle of the season, you still got a whole season to play, and a club like Man United at that time was challenging for bigger trophies. So granted, but I use that as an example to say I think it can become quite toxic when we don't even celebrate those wins, however big or small they are. Because it's subjective as well, because that small win to you might be a massive win to someone else. If I sell 10 units of my next piece, that might be a small win to me. But it could be a massive win to a smaller brand. Or that could be a massive win to me and it wouldn't even be a drop in the ocean to another brand. So I think it's subjective. And I think what helps is seeing people achieve different things around me as well. Like I've got people in music and people in football. It's like, oh, I just hit 1,000 streams of my song. Big win. Might be nothing else. It might be nothing to someone else that's got 1 million monthly listeners, but it's something to you. And that's all that matters. Truly.
Yeah, the law of relativity, they call it.
Yeah, exactly.
And in my answer to the endless race, there's always someone above you, there's always someone below you.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, it's important, but it's something that I need to work on because like the pipeline that I've had this year, guests like yourself, my previous guests, I never thought I had on.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was struggling for guests, and I'd have to shout the man them to come on.
Yeah,
which is not saying that they don't have inspiring stories, but
it's like, and it's like you're gonna get to a place where it's like you might even already be there with people like I need to be in the show. Like I hope he asks me, because my thing was like I'm honored to be here. Like and you'll get to, and that will be like, okay, cool. So it's definitely changed, because I've gone from asking my boys who had cool stories, but like, oh, now people like, this is actually a highlight. This is something that they were looking forward to. It's like, so it's like, I've got leverage to the point of if I ask someone to be, they want to be on it. Yeah. So that's an improvement in itself. And that shows
definitely. I definitely need to start celebrating the small wins.
Yeah.
However, but I'm just curious of the time. So what advice would you give to someone that is young, that wants to start a clothing brand? Like, what advice would you give that you wish you heard?
The main thing I would say is figure out your why, honestly, because that will dictate what your longevity is. Like, if you have that strong why, then you'll be going as long as the vision is there. But it's like, if you don't have a why, it will go with the wind. So figure out what your why is. That's the main thing. And then after that, you're looking at the technical side of it in terms of, okay, what type of clothes you want to release. Do you want to bring in a designer? You need a team. You need a community around you. Definitely need people that are willing to serve. Because at the start, there's very rarely monetary gain for anyone, let alone people helping you out. You need people that buy into the vision. And I had that. Or Isaac, he's a legend. Like, to the point where sometimes it felt like he believed in the vision.
Wow.
He's such an amazing guy. So you need people that buy into the vision. Figure out, fashion-wise, figure out what look you're going for, what pieces you want to do, what type of fabric you want to use, all of that sort of stuff. Are you a tracksuit-based brand? Are you streetwear? Are you knitwear? Are you luxury? Are you exclusive? And then also be sort of tactical. So similar to what I said about you with the merch, like just do one-on-ones, walk around in them, go to your parties in them, or wherever you're going, go to church in them, go to your cousin's house in them, wear it, visibility. Oh, what's this? Take pictures in it. And it's like, oh, this is just something I made. Then it can just snowball from there to, oh, I'm releasing 5 of these, first come, first serve. Those 5 sell out, and you realize, okay, cool, there's a bit of want for this. Supply and demand.
Yeah.
Business 101's like, okay, cool, create a demand for it, and then you then come with the supply as well.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I'll look into it. I'll test it out.
Yeah.
And I'll send you some ideas as well.
Yeah, definitely.
Who's had the biggest impact on your life?
Oof.
On why? Could be multiple people.
Yeah, it'd be so tough to do one.
Yeah.
I start with family. Dad, he's my inspiration to this day. My mum's an amazing supporter. Brother, my sister. Yeah, I don't want to list everyone because we'll be here for a while.
Yeah, of course.
We'll be here for a while.
Yeah.
But I've got honestly so many amazing people around me. Ryan is like just another version of myself. He's a professional footballer. Like we're so intertwined in that way. Isaac, as I mentioned, I think also my brother Ethan, and it's like that. I guess my church community is massive as well. Like I have an amazing leadership team in terms of my pastor Kwame, Pastor Leandre, and Pastor Lisa. Yeah, I'm gonna cut this off there. If I didn't say the names, they understand.
Yeah.
But I've got so many people that pour into me. I think that is why I'm here today, not of my own strength.
It's important, right?
It's so important. I think it's like pride. Pride can be the death for you, honestly. It's something I struggled with for years. I'm not here off my own strength.
Yeah.
All those people that listen, the ones that didn't, they help because you can't pour from an empty cup.
Yeah.
So as they're pouring into me, it helps for me to. And I guess I started to view it less as me pouring out rather than my cup being so full that it just overflows into other people's cups. So I don't have to actively pour into you. But I used to struggle with that. I used to have like a savior complex.
Okay.
But I now just view it as you just plant the seed, step back. If you actually plant the seed and just pour water on it and continuously pour, you drown the seed.
Yeah.
Seed needs more than just water, it needs sunlight, everything else. I didn't really listen to science.
Yeah.
I know photosynthesis is part of that. But yeah.
Yeah, and those are your people. Sunlight is your pastor, for example. Yeah. It's a good way to see it.
So yeah.
Good way to see it. What's one quote you live by and why?
Quote?
Yeah.
Ooh. I can't think of a quote off the top of my head.
No worries.
Well, there's like an African proverb where it says, if you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together. The community, once again. I guess the Bible scripture, Luke chapter 2, verse 49, I'm about my Father's business. That was Jesus saying it to his disciples, I believe, which is what I believe about his business. So yeah. I was trying to think of a quote for my favorite movie, but I couldn't.
It's all right, no worries.
But yeah.
No worries. What's one thing people don't know about you that will surprise them? It doesn't have to be necessarily, it can be something funny, something a hobby of yours.
What is that? I've never missed a penalty.
Okay, how many penalties have you taken though? If you've taken 2, then
I don't know off the top of my head, but I've taken quite a few.
Okay.
I don't miss them. Someone's gonna be in the comments being like, that's not true.
Yeah, they're gonna have a video.
Yeah, I guess I've never missed a penalty. I've never been to a Man United game and they've lost. I don't know.
I think you should maybe go to a few more.
Yeah.
Okay, cool, nice. And then obviously the last question is, the podcast is called The Endless Race.
Yes.
When you hear that phrase, what does that mean to you in like regards to life, the endless race?
I love that question. I was hoping you'd ask me something like that. I think it's pretty accurate of what life is. It's an endless race. Like it's an endless race to get to the top of your job. People that work in the corporate sector, I want to get to this, I want to earn this. Once you get there, it's like, oh, I want this now. And we've spoke about it a lot, but that's why you can't attach these things to money, because it's like, I don't believe, and I'm not a millionaire, so I don't know, but I don't believe that there's anything that someone that's making 10 million a year can't already buy if they're making 15 million a year. I think at that point it's just want and greed. I guess life is that endless race unless you have that something with deeper meaning. For me, it's God's like, so I know it's my rewards aren't here, it's in heaven, it's not earth. So because of that, it's like I don't get caught up in that endless race. I understand I'm here for a period of time, and it might be 90 years, it might be 100 years, but it's a speck compared to eternity. Yeah. So I guess I'd say life is that endless. I think it's a really cool name for a podcast.
Yeah, and I feel like we're all running this endless race, right?
Yeah.
And you're running a different race to me, I'm running a different race to you.
So true.
And I think a lot of people get caught up in looking at people and saying, oh, why don't I have that?
So true. But
you're running your own race. If it takes you 5 years, it takes you 5 years. If it takes you a year, it takes you a year. Only God knows it, right?
Comparison is one of the biggest thieves of joy, honestly. I think when you're running a race, they say put your blinkers on. I think it's sometimes good to look at the side and to check what other people do. And it might help, it might inspire you, but it's like ultimately focus. I don't know if you're around, but if you're constantly looking that way, you're going to end up coming out your lane. Yeah. We're running completely different races, as you said, completely.
I think there's a quote that says, if you always look backwards, how are you expected to walk forward? Yeah. Because you can't physically walk back forward and see where you're going if you're always looking backwards.
It's true. It's true.
It's very important. But Jude, it's been a pleasure. If you want to let them know where you can find all of your socials, your clothing brand.
Yeah. So clothing brand is Big Apparel _ on Instagram and on TikTok. YouTube is Big Apparel or Big _ Apparel. My personal Instagram is Jude. Jude.ao. So you see, I'm more focused on my brand. That's why. And I guess our website is www.big.myshopify.com. Yeah, those are all the relevant links.
Perfect. Yeah, I'll link them in the description.
Thank you for having me, man.
Jude, it's been a pleasure.
Yes.
And guys, see you on the next episode. Peace.